welcome to I Bring the Table. I'm Kishana, one of the moderators.
My name is Robin Joseph.
You give a little bit of background about yourself,
Okay.
Robin.
I am a licensed funeral director, mortician in the state of New York. I've also spent 17 years at Google as a facility specialist, traveling around the world building data centers. I also have written a book called Broken But Blessed, and I've had several entrepreneurial endeavors that I have been able to do throughout the years.
So that is like amazing, right? We spoke a little bit about your journey, and I would just love to know, like, what did you use as determination to get you through these different lives, right?
Yes, definitely. I'm very transparent in my journey. Actually, my motivation came through my children. I was determined to have a different narrative for them. So I was a single parent with two children. I did not go back to college until I was 42 years old. My daughter, the first day of kindergarten was her first day of school, and mine as well. I just wanted to break a curse that I had seen throughout my family. So they became my motivation. Getting into Google was actually a fluke. I had a degree in mortuary science and one in Christian ministries. I went on a temp job. And while there, I sat there and I was working. I was like, oh, I could figure this out, you know. And everybody said, no, you don't have the degree, you don't have this. And so one day they all went into a room and they came out and they were clapping. And I was like, what is going on? They were like, Google just gave all the Googlers $1,000. And I said, there's no way I'm going to sit at the king's table and not eat the king's food. So I went to my manager and I said, find me a job, or I'll be looking like I was looking when I found this one. And they created a position for me. And the rest became history. I've been able to travel to 36 countries, was in a part of their employee resource group where I was able to do diversity and inclusion, and their Women at and their Black Googlers Network. So it's just been a wonderful experience.
Awesome. So now, the first book that you have, there's a chapter in the book that we briefly spoke on. Can we just speak on that?
Yes. So one of the taglines is expose yourself to yourself. You'll be surprised at what you see. That narrative came at a very broken time in my life. When I wrote this book, I was in a whole bunch of bankrupt situations, not just financially. I just closed a restaurant. I had just gotten a divorce, was bankrupt in so many parts of my life. And I started to journal this, and it was intended to be a book. But when people would come and they would, be talking to me about their issues, I'd be like, read this journal thing. And everybody started saying, no, that's not a journal, that's a book. And so it kind of created and morphed from that. I do take a lot of mentoring seriously because I came from an environment where I didn't have people that knew about finances and college and things like that. And so the first time I ever got a stock when I was working at Google, it was like manna. It was like, what is this? And so my initiative is to really empower people, not just the least and the lost, but those who are on track to do great things that just don't have the resources to know.
Right, don't have all the answers,
Yes,
right?
don't have all the
Because
answers.
sometimes we know a little bit, but we don't know enough.
Exactly.
And we don't always have people to look to give us those answers or fill in those blanks.
Yes.
And so then that's where you would come into play.
Yes.
So, this whole journey is about I Bring the Table. What comes with your table? What would you tell women that, feel like I'm not where I want to be, or am I too old to get here, or do I have enough time to get here? And you've lived all these lives. So what would come with your table when speaking to some of these women?
So I'm 63. And in this, I will be honest to say that in this 63rd chapter of life, I've learned how to not allow work to be my life, but work to be something that I live. And so I am now endeavoring on things that I'm passionately called. And even if I lose, I always taught my children, never count a loss as something that is not meaningful, because a lesson learned is wisdom earned. And as long as we can learn something from that lesson, when I opened my first business, I opened a restaurant. I didn't have a business plan. I didn't have anything. Guess what? I learned something.
Right.
So
Right.
that's what life encounters will do. And so what I would say to anybody, it's never too late. I would also say surround yourself with people that will feed into your life, and never be afraid to ask questions. Never be afraid to move outside your comfort zone and move into rooms where people may have answers that you just don't have.
Absolutely. But thank you so much. I really enjoyed speaking with you. I wish this was longer.
Thank you
So
for
I just
having
want to
me.
say thank you, and thank you for your transparency, Robin.
Thank you so much.
You're
It's been a pleasure to
welcome.
be
Yes.
here. Thank you.